Hello, and welcome to Cultured Collects. This is the first video in what I plan to be a series called Manga Spotlight, where I go over some manga that isn't too popular and maybe hasn't gotten very much attention yet. Really, it's more a place for me to gush about manga I've read and that no one seems to be talking about. Now, with this introduction out of the way, let's talk about Densha Otoko, or Train Man. So, a little bit of background about myself in this series. I've technically been collecting this series for like 12 years because back in the day, we got whatever manga we could, right? And I found the third volume on sale at a library that I was at with my family. And being the little weeb that I was at 12 years old, I begged my parents to get it for me. This is why you can see in some of the footage that the third volume is really beat up. It has a ton of sticker residue, but luckily the pages are all intact, and because the library laminated the cover, the book is perfectly readable. So, the way I think I want these manga spotlights to go is I'll give a quick rundown of the series, and then I'll give my thoughts on whether I think it's worth it to read it now, and whether I think it's worth it to collect the physical manga now. Our story begins on a crowded train from Akihabara, in which a drunk old man begins to cause trouble. He began harassing women on the train, and that's when our protagonist, who would later be known as Train Man, worked up the courage to intervene, just long enough for the other passengers to get the train police. The people of the train are of course grateful, and one of the young women who was harassed by the old man even asks for his address to send him a thank you gift. Eventually what arrived was an expensive teacup set from the French luxury goods company Hermes. This is when we find out that this whole introduction was narrated by Train Man through an online form commonly used in Japan called 2chan. He was on here explaining what happened to ask for advice because he was convinced that the cups were too expensive to be a mere thank you gift. So, with the help of the people of 2chan, Train Man, as they nickname him, successfully navigates calling her back and thanking her for the teacups. Slowly but surely, Train, with the help of 2chan, starts to break out of his otaku shell and to gain the confidence to ask Hermes, as the people of the form nicknamed her on account of the cups, out to dinner. The 2chan form helps Train with everything from how to style his clothes to where to take Hermes to dinner. The rest of the story follows what happens between Train and Hermes. With the 2chan form, they are for every victory and every defeat. It's a wonderful coming of age / romance read that is sure to hit home to any lifetime otaku. Now, for some of my thoughts on the manga. My favorite part of the entire manga is the way that the mangaka, Hidenori Hara, personifies each of the form posters Train communicates with and gives them each their own flair and personality. Later in the story, we even get a small sneak peek into some of their lives, and we get to see how the inspirational story that they're a part of otaku turned adult, inspired them, the form posters, in their own lives. Now, something I did not know about this series until I bought the rest of the books and started to look it up for this video is that it's actually based on true events. Supposedly. This plot is picked up straight from an actual 2chan form from 2004, and this manga is just one adaptation of this popular story. There's a novel and a live action series and even a different manga altogether. Apparently it has never been proven to be true or untrue, just that the form itself did indeed exist. This manga is short and sweet and packed full of personality. It has relatable characters and is short enough that you could finish it in just a few hours. Do I recommend you read it? If you're a fan of adult romance titles like Sweat and Soap or Watakoi, this manga provides a great little romance from beginning to end, and I would recommend it to any otaku regardless of their manga preferences, as I could see a lot of myself in the protagonist. I'm sure that adults who have made the transition from otaku to working adult would appreciate this story. So yes, read it. Do I recommend you collect it? if this sort of manga is your thing, or if you like collecting more obscure, older manga. This is a great one, I think, because although it is old and some of the volumes are a bit more expensive, to collect all 3 volumes is not going to cost you as much as other out-of-print titles. Plus, it looks great on a shelf. Anyway, that's it for me. Let me know if you've enjoyed this video, and if you read Train Man, what you think about it. This is Cultured Collects, out.